Hi, I'm Jeanne Kelly, your credit coach, and I am so excited to have on today Rod Griffin from Experian. He's the Senior Director of Public Education. How are you, Rod?
I am marvelous, Jeannie. How are you?
I'm really great. I'm really great. Sunny day today makes it extra nice.
Yep, it is springtime in Texas where I am. So
Awesome.
beautiful. We have springtime weather for about 2 weeks, and then it will be 90 or 100. It seems like always. So summer gets here with a vengeance.
Well, I'm glad I got you
I'm
at a
loving
good
it right
time.
now.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to have you on because one thing about my podcast, I always like talking about in the moment and things that I get asked about. And this is something that I can't even answer the questions. I can't get back to everybody. And I thought, let me have Rod come on, the expert, and talk about these new changes regarding medical collections and our credit reports. And this way, everyone can finally learn some good news. This is really good information for individuals who have had issues when it comes to medical debt. So can you tell me about some of the changes?
Sure. And it's been ongoing over the last several years, actually, in terms of medical debt and the way it's been treated. And there's really two kinds of things that have been happening. One is on the credit reporting side, the other is on the credit scoring side. And so the environment has evolved greatly. About, I want to say 2 years ago now, we changed the way that we collect, maybe 3 at this point, that we collect medical collections. So the first thing to understand is that medical bills only come to us when they become a collection account. So they're not reported to us as an ongoing, like a debt that's being repaid on time. Mm-hmm. They only get reported when the patient has been unable to pay and it goes to collections. We began holding those medical collections at the credit bureaus for 6 months to make sure that they were a legitimate debt that needed to be paid rather than a billing error or an insurance dispute, things like that. We now hold them for a full year. So we've expanded that time. So a medical collection will not come to your report until it's been at least a year that it's been in collections. So that, again, extends the time to make sure that it is something that is a legitimate debt owed to the medical provider. We began removing paid medical collections a couple of years ago. So if you had a medical collection, it was reported as paid, it comes off the credit report. And so that reduced significantly the number of collections that were in credit reports at that time.
So and then let me just stop you there for a second. So the paid medical collections. So once, let's say Experian, but this is across the board, right?
This is across the board.
For Equifax and TransUnion. So, but once Experian gets notified, this medical debt, let's say it was a $700 medical debt on the credit report. Once this shows that it is paid and then it can be removed. And it doesn't, I'm just going to ask if it's settled, meaning let's say the client saved $100. If it still shows no balance due, that means it's paid and it can come off, right?
If it's paid, settled, it would come off the report. That's my understanding of the.
Okay. That's okay. Great.
Yeah. So at that point, we removed a huge percentage of medical collections.
Sure.
Just this last month in April, we announced that we are removing any medical collections with an initial balance of $500 or less. So anything under $500,000, under $500, take off some of those zeros, under $500 is no longer part of a credit report. So if you have a medical collection and the initial balance was under $500, it will be removed from the credit report. And so that eliminated about 70% of all medical debts that are part of credit reports.
And that's, from what I see, a lot of times, those are the co-pays, or something like a little mix up. And I will say that seems very fair. Both of those seem all three, actually. What am I
Yeah.
talking about? I mean, it's nice that it's taking longer to go on the report because maybe, one bill you might not have seen, but now if you get it in your mailbox, really paying attention, you have time to say, oh, pay it before it can go on the report. So it's giving you more time. And I did want to ask, Rod, when you say a year, like, does that mean a year that I went to the doctor, or does that mean from billing?
From the point it became collections and we're notified of it, essentially.
Okay.
So it has to, so the time it went to collections.
Okay.
So it would hold for 12 months from that point.
Okay. So it definitely gives you time, because a lot of times with medical bills, I find like you're recovering sometimes and you're not paying attention because you're still healing. So the credit report, at least we're giving individuals a lot of time to really open up their mail, really is what it is, and track these
Yeah.
things down. And then I love the fact that if something did go on the report, it did get, there was a slip up or whatever it may be, that once now it's paid, it can be removed. And of course, the little, the co-pays. I mean, this is big news. This is,
Yeah.
that's something, for years, Rod, I've been, it makes me sad because medical, it's not really, to me personally, this is my personal opinion, that's not really like saying how you pay your bills. Just sometimes it could be a health issue and you're just not paying attention, so for it to not be on the report anymore, I think that's a great change. And even if it's to get your attention for that large debt, because listen, our doctors and medical, they need to be paid. I'm not saying don't pay your debt, because you have to. You want to be making sure it's paid, but it's nice that it might not be damaging our credit so much.
Yeah. And it's tough. The medical collection, the whole subject is difficult because it is a debt that's owed. It does take away from your disposable income and your ability to repay other debts. So in some ways it should be included in that consideration. But in other instances, as you said, it's not a debt anybody applies for and wants to take out a loan. They didn't buy a car that's too expensive and make a bad decision. They got sick or injured. And so it's a balance in helping ensure lenders get paid and people are protected. So that's what we're trying to figure out, is how do we do that the right way? And how do we make sure that we maintain soundness in lending, but also protect the individual? So we think we're doing the right things. We think we're moving in the right way. Some of the bigger debts will likely still be there, but as I said, most of them aren't large debts. It's 70% of the medical debt information we had, the medical collection information we had, is now gone.
Right.
So
that's a huge number, 70%.
Yeah, well over half. And so it's, we think it's important. And, making sure that and the other thing about medical information and medical debts is that it's very complicated. And so, I had an instance where I went to the dentist and there was a insurance issue that we didn't know about. And I got one of those, your bill is going to be sent to collections. It was like $29 or something. It was, and I started to go, now, wait a minute. And then I thought, one, it's an insurance issue, so it will be taken care of. And number two, at that time, I had 6 months, so it wasn't going to come on my credit report, despite what the letter I got said. I'm like, no, I happen to be in a fortunate position to know that wasn't true. So, it's going to take some time. So I didn't have to panic. And I think that's true too. I got them to pay it. It wasn't, and then it went away in about 2 days, but it was, it gives you some peace of mind as well to know that if there's an issue that you see sometimes in medical relationships, that you are not going to see an immediate impact either. That's going to be you have some time to help resolve the issue and work with the medical provider and the insurance companies and make sure things get corrected in where they should be without having to worry about your credit history.
Right.
So, and then the other thing we haven't talked about is that scoring systems themselves have been changing. So the way that they consider medical debts, medical collections has shifted, and they weigh less in the calculation. So they have less impact on scores. And even before we started delaying the reporting of medical collections, paid medical collections were excluded from the newest score calculations as well. So the scoring systems were changing along with us. So it's a, your credit scores will be different because of the way that the formulas are now structured.
Right. I saw that with the new ones, but a lot of my community are people who are shopping for homes.
Yeah.
And at the moment, until things change, they are using the older 90% of lenders, right, are using an older FICO scoring model. And because of that, they were still for those home buyers. So that's why I even say someone who 3 months ago might have went to start talking to a mortgage loan officer and had, let's say, 3 little copay medical bills on their credit report, they could go back now and they may not be there, right? And again, we talk about annualcreditreport.com being a great tool to go check out your credit reports for free there. But what else does Experian have that people can go to Experian to check out?
Yeah, we have a CreditWorks service, and it's free as well with premium levels if you want to get more stuff, more tools and resources and things, which can be really valuable. But and even just the free level, we give you a free credit report once a month. We give you free credit scores and the factors that go with them. We give you monitoring. So if something new comes to your report, you will get a notice right away. That can be really important because you want to be able to act on it, whether it's a medical collection or something else, whether it's some other kind of collection or an account you don't recognize or a name that doesn't belong to you. We do things like monitor the dark web and social media for use of your identity so that we can alert you to it. So there are a lot of things out there to help protect your identity and your personal financial situation in free tools. So you can go to Experian.com and learn about that. If you are working to build your credit history, you can enroll in Experian Boost. So go to Experian.com/boost. And that gives you control over what's reported, which just kind of turns things on its ear, as they say. It's upside down for the credit reporting companies because we're telling you to give us information. And it's things like your cell phone payments, your utility payments, your streaming services. So Netflix, you can have date night on Friday and watch a Netflix movie and have it help your credit scores. And now rent as well. And so if you enroll in Experian Boost, again, it's a free service, it's permission-based. Right. And you can change your mind and tell us to stop. We give you a free credit score when you start the process from FICO, a FICO 8 score. And then we give you another score at the end of the process and you can see if it improved. Mine didn't, but it wasn't really a surprise because the stronger your scores are, the less likely it will help. What we find with Experian Boost is that for people with scores of less than 680 or have thin files, so they're just beginning to use their credit history, they're seeing the most impact. Okay. And that can be as much as 19 or 20 points in just a matter of a few minutes. So it can be a really strong, free tool to get credit where you didn't before. So it's kind of the opposite. Medical collections were reported and we're worried about the impact on people. In the meantime, you were using your cell phone, paying it on time, you were paying your utility bills on time, but you weren't getting any benefit from that. Mm-hmm. But if you didn't pay them, those collections would show up. And
right.
So it could hurt you, but it didn't help you. And we didn't think that was right. And all of our research said a person who's paying those bills on time, even if they have very little credit history, are better credit risk than their traditional credit report would show, just because they don't have much experience or much information there. So that's a tool I recommend highly, and I recommend it to my family and others too. So check those out; they can be really helpful.
And another tool that I really love is the Experian Credit Match what is it called exactly, where they can, I love that because sometimes it takes the guesswork out of, I know it's not 100% an approval, but it's a match of how someone's credit report looks and what you feel would be a good fit. And even though it's not 100%, I've noticed everyone that I've been suggesting, hey, go to Experian, use that, the credit match. What is it called? Is that
The credit match? It's a
it
service
is?
within our monitoring tool. So if you enroll in on your phone with our app, you enroll in Boost. We also with Boost we can match you to cards as well, and we match to what you tell us you're looking for. So if a person says, I'm looking for a low interest card with airline miles and no annual fee, we'll do our best to find those cards that meet those criteria that they are likely to qualify for,
Right.
Based on their credit history and their credit scores within our system. And so then it's up to them. It gives them the ability to choose. And I think you've heard me say that the most powerful word in credit is no. It's a simple little word, 2 little letters, but it can be hard to say. But you then have choice, and that empowers you. And that's what I tell people all the time, that your credit report, when you use it well, empowers you, gives you power to negotiate better rates, it gives you power to get the financial services you want and need, gives you the ability to walk into a lender and smile and say, I know what you're going to see, give me my loan or
Right.
my credit card, right? So you know what to expect, and because they're going to see the same thing you are. And
Exactly.
it's cliche, but knowledge is power.
Yeah. And I always say credit can cost you or save you money.
Yeah.
And we are here. Definitely, I know you are always pouring out so much information regarding healthy credit. So am I. Why don't we work on using credit a healthy way and let it save us the money? So, thank you so much, Rod, for coming on today. I think this is big news regarding the medical collections. And I wanted to make sure I went directly to you to, shout this out from the rooftops, basically, because I really, it's just something that I'm really happy about. I think it can really help a lot of people, and a lot of people who, like I said, a couple of months ago had some of those small copays. I don't want you to not pay them, but they're not on your credit report right now, is just
Right.
the difference. So thank you so much.
Great, Jeannie. Thank you. Anytime. Happy to help.
Awesome. Have a great day.
You too. Take care.